on the wall to try to get things going for his club. Interference call on the play. It seemed like a bit of a clean hit. I think he kept his shoulder down. Robertson was pretty close to touching the puck there. But again, these teams are trying to get this emotion going. It was a bit slow, as I mentioned, off the hop. But after that hit, you could see the physicality ramp up pretty good.
Absolutely. So after that, and you know what, I think that depending on whether or not you were cheering for the Jets or the Leafs, I mean, you had some bones to pick maybe with the officiating on both sides, depending which team it was that you were cheering for. But just shortly after that, then you take a look at Cole Perfetti. Took a hit behind the net for it. I mean, how many times have we seen this already? And we're only a few games into the regular season for it. Pierre-Luc Dubois jumps in. He's the only one that gets a penalty on the play.
Yeah, and this is an important time of the game. It's a 2-1 hockey game at this point. The emotions are starting to ramp up because of that Morrissey hit. And you can understand from Dubois' point of view, this is a penalty, I think. Perfetti's got his back turned to the boards. Sandin comes in and rails him in the numbers there. And, your teammates are going to stand up for each other. And, good job done here by the guys sticking up for their teammate. But at the same respect, you got to recognize the score. That puts the Leafs on a power play, and they're able to capitalize on that power play to give them a two-goal lead, which is a pretty key moment in the hockey game.
Yeah, in such a short period of time. I mean, one of the things that we've really heard from Rick Bowness, and especially towards the end of that preseason in the games against Calgary, when Perfetti was on the receiving end, some of the hits, is that they're going to want to, if you go after one of our teammates, everyone gets involved with it, and we certainly saw that be the case with whether it be when Josh Morrissey got into it or then also with Dubois jumping in for it. But you mentioned, I mean, it turned out to be a key moment for it. This is a power play that has been, for the Toronto Maple Leafs, has been middle of the pack to start the season, but we know how dangerous it can be. They were the top power play in the league last season, and John Tavares had quite a night. And I mean, special teams tonight really was the difference.
Yeah, it definitely was. And like you say, it becomes such a big part of the game. Special teams, especially like you said, with a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs, with the amount of firepower they have, John Tavares having a very good start to his season, which is good to see from the Leafs' perspective. But again, you cannot give these guys opportunity on the power play. You have to make sure you're doing the right things, and he makes them pay with a beauty goal over the blocker side on Hellebuyck.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we are going to have Neil Pionk join us momentarily, but first, have you downloaded the new Winnipeg Jets app? If not, it's time to do so. As mentioned, Neil Pionk. I mean, Neil, obviously not the result that this group was looking for coming back home, but when you think of this game overall, what is it that stood out to you most from a Jets perspective?
We kind of had a sloppy second period. We started off okay, coming off the West Coast there, fourth game in 6 nights, started off okay, but second period was a little sloppy and got away from us. Took one too many penalties, and that was the game.
For you, when you think of the way that this team has played so far to start this season through the first 5 games, when you guys are playing at your best with the way that the new systems are being implemented, in your mind, how are you guys playing?
We're playing great when we play to our systems. I feel like 75-80% of our season has been pretty good. It's just that 25, that quarter% of our season that has slipped away and cost us some games.
Right. So the focus now, I mean, St. Louis comes in on Monday for it. I mean, we know the season that they've been having as well for it. What is it that you would like to see for this team in order to be able to quickly regroup?
Well, a full 60 minutes, like I talked about. 3/4 of our season has been pretty good, including tonight. I mean, overall, we played all right. We just got to put it together for 60 minutes, and they're a big, heavy, physical team, so we're going to have to come prepared. When
you look at the way that this game ended up going, especially in that second period towards the back end, and then what we saw in the third period as well, just with the emotions getting a little bit higher in intensity, revving up as well for it, how do you describe games that exist between the Leafs and the Jets, and what do you attribute it to?
Yeah, it's fun. Hockey night in Canada. I know I'm a American guy, but hockey night in Canada, and you're playing the Leafs, so it's always fun playing them.
Did you have some issue with some of the hits that we saw tonight that were on the receiving end?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. Very smart.
Yeah.
Very, very smart. So thanks so much for this, Neil, for it. Let's take a look at what the next 4 games are going to look like for the Jets. I mentioned that the St. Louis Blues are in town. That's going to end off this homestand. It's just a brief 2-game homestand. Then they head back out on the road against the LA Kings. Arizona, that game on Friday is going to be the first game for Arizona at home. You know, a lot of people are going to be watching that as they move to the university, and then things end up in Vegas on Sunday. 6 of the first 8 games on the road. Derek's back with me now. Said, I mean, it's just those lapses, and that's something that the Jets have spoken about. I mean, we heard it on the road trip as well. It's that cliche, that full 60 minutes, but they're having those lapses, and that's what's proved to be costly.
Yeah, I mean, in this league, if you're not ready to play on time to start the game, it's going to be a tough go for you. I think being able to string 60 minutes together, a difficult thing to do, but it's a must. You have to make sure that you're preparing properly. You're coming out, and as Neil Pionk mentioned there, a tough time in the second period. Things got a little bit sloppy. A few too many turnovers in that neutral zone area, and what that does is it just disjoints the group a little bit. You can see what's happening. The Maple Leafs start to really converge in the front of the net, and you got guys looking around, puck watching a little bit.
All right, I think that we have some sound from the room if we can. No, okay, so we don't. We're going to stay here right now. I thought that we did, but let's talk a little bit about some of the lines that we saw tonight, and specifically that Pierre-Luc Dubois line. I mean, we mentioned about how he jumped in off the hit of Perfetti, but that line to me of Cole Perfetti, Pierre-Luc Dubois, and Blake Wheeler, to me were the most noticeable line and the best line that we saw from the Jets this evening.
Yeah, I think so. They brought the most intensity in this hockey game. Tonight, good entry here, a great pass across the ice, big shot from the outside, and it's those zone entries, the middle drive. Coming through to the net opens up that seam over to Dubois, who ends up bearing his own rebound. A good play to go and take care of the inside of the ice, get above the puck and bury his own rebound there to get the Jets in this one.
So they've really set the tone. When you think about Dubois' goal that we saw from him, and just using his size, I think, as well, is going to be one of the keys for this line to be able to have success. You've got a big body in Dubois. He plays big as that power forward. Same with Blake Wheeler, who I thought had some good opportunities too. And then obviously Perfetti, the young rookie on the line, and a smaller body for it, but a lot of potential for this line going forward.
Yeah, definitely. The chemistry between Blake Wheeler and Cole Perfetti has been pretty interesting to see early on this hockey season. Perfetti's a guy with a really good hockey sense, and so putting him with these two guys, some veteran leadership here. Again, Perfetti with a great pass out to Blake Wheeler there, who gets a really quality scoring chance in a good area. Blake Wheeler had a couple of these tonight. Coming over the line again, you see the back pass, the sense that Perfetti has here, and Blake Wheeler, his best opportunity maybe of the night. Not able to pull the trigger on that one on the backhand, but a lot of good stuff from those guys. And if you have 3-4 lines playing like those guys, then it could be a different story tonight.
Yeah, I think that we also saw, you saw some potential from the fourth line at various points too. And we go back to Dubois, that he had the goal, but then the posts. His friend tonight, with hitting a couple of them as well, the opportunities that were there for them. I mentioned Connor Hellebuck, and we saw the big save that he made on Austin Matthews. And although when you look at it in the end, the 3 goals that were scored against, beauty goals for 2 of them on the power play as well. But when you look at his numbers for it, the start that he has been able to have so far, let's take a look at this. Now, this does not include his numbers for tonight. So he started 4 games, but his first 3 starts, what we've seen so far this season for it, there's been a lot of attention paid to him after the season that he had last year. And he comes off of the Vezina, and not that he didn't have a good season, but this is a team that needs him to have a great season, I think, a lot of the time. And so you look at those numbers there, and then he was able to come up with some big saves when he was needed.
Yeah,
tonight.
Definitely. He's got that calm nature in between the posts. You never feel like he's out of position. He's always got that sound position. He doesn't move too far out of the way. He keeps under control a lot. And I think that's what helps with his success, and not only that, but just instilling confidence throughout the lineup. That calm demeanor that he has in the net, where he's able to stick with plays. You saw again on those Matthews chances, just sticking with the play and making some fantastic saves.
Yeah, he had a great camp going into this season as well. Carried it over. All right, now let's go into the room. Let's hear from Pierre-Luc Dubois.
I used to. I mean, I don't go at their guy if he doesn't hit fast from behind. That second goal, happy. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't want to get fined.
Josh Morrissey kind of mentioned that one of the things that they did well tonight that kind of stemmed you guys was how they defended in the neutral zone. What did they do well that kind of created some challenges for you guys, even though you were still able to generate quite a bit offensively?
Yeah, I mean, they played a good game. They're obviously a good team. They jammed that neutral zone pretty well, and instead of trying to get it behind them, we try to keep making plays and turn it over, and they're back in our zone, getting scoring chances. Or D's jump up the ice. They're good on transition, so they played a good game, and sometimes we didn't have an answer, and I think that's one thing that hurt us tonight.
You scored twice now in the last 2 games, 3 posts. What do you think about the looks you've been able to generate?
It'd be nice if we could get a win out of those 2 games at least. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the year, if I score 50 and we don't win, it doesn't really mean much to me. So, yeah, if me not scoring means we win, I'll take that.
Power play, I think you had 3 chances tonight. One was cut short, but do you feel like it's kind of just there in a matter of time maybe before you start breaking out on it?
I think we can do a lot better. We have a lot of firepower there, and I think we can be a very dangerous. We can have 2 very dangerous power play units if I think the hardest power play they play against is when 5 guys on the ice can score, and I think when we're dangerous, that's what we do well. It could come from the half walls, from the top, from the middle, from in front of the net. So I think we can do a better job at that.
Maybe I'm reading this wrong, but it feels like a frustrating loss for you tonight, is it?
Yeah, every loss is a frustrating loss, especially 2 losses in a row. We always say you can't lose 2, and to come back home, and it's a short homestand, but to lose the first one hurts. But we have to get ready for Monday now.
Thanks.
I mean, he mentioned the opportunities that they had, and especially when you look at that power play. So we talked about the special teams, and we talked about the penalty kill, how dangerous Toronto can be. We saw some opportunities, I thought, in the third period for the Jets, for more so than what we saw in their first 2 power plays, which I didn't think generated a whole lot. We know that the emphasis is on movement. They want to see a lot of it out there. I don't know if we necessarily saw it in the beginning, but it's a starting point for them. There are going to be growing pains, I think it's fair to say, as you look at implementing all new systems and all new special teams.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you saw on a couple of those early power play opportunities for the Jets, they had a bit of a difficult time getting up the ice. Again, and Rick Bowness has talked about how he wants his players to play that 5-man unit, sticking together, and when you're doing that, you're able to generate speed up the ice, and you're able to utilize guys off the rush. The Jets started doing that a lot better in that second period, in that third period. But again, that's the point in time where the Leafs are up by 2 at that point. They're feeling in a comfortable position, and at that point, it's a bit of a desperation thing. You're going to turn the heat up, and they weren't able to get it done on the power play. But as you said, in the third period, they did have some good opportunities. I thought both units came out and had some good puck movement. Pierre-Luc Dubois ended up staying on, I think, for both of those units, and he had some good opportunities. So 5 shots on net for him. He was a big factor tonight, but again, not the way he wanted to see it turn out, for sure.
You mentioned sometimes the speed going up, and there was a lot of talk about the neutral zone and how it was going to impact this game. I know it was one of the things that Rick Bowness had spoken to me about before the game, about needing to make sure that they controlled it. But for the Jets, with that challenge of maybe getting some of the speed going early on, is this a game where you miss a Nikolai Ehlers?
Yeah, definitely. The quickness, the speed that Nikolai Ehlers carries with his game. He could be coming up the ice. He gets to the red line. If he doesn't see something he likes, he'll loop back. He'll gain that speed. Everybody will, sag back and come back up the ice as 5. And when you're under the puck and you're doing the right things that way, you have a guy like Ehlers with that outside speed that he can create things and get the excitement, the energy level up. He's a driver as far as some of that work ethic, that speed, that energy for the game. And so he's a guy that's missed huge right now.
Yeah, and Rick Bowness saying this morning that he's going to be missing, they figure, around 7 to 10 days for it. Dylan Sandberg also sidelined right now. He is day to day. Rick Bowness, as I mentioned, on the bench for the first time. What is it that struck you about Rick Bowness's style with this group so far?
Well, he seems to have their trust. He's a guy that when you talk, you want to listen to what he says, and he comes across as a very trustworthy guy. You want to play for him, you want to play hard. He's implemented a good system that the Jets are trying to get grasp of. And again, he talks about the 5-man unit and the fact that they want to attack. And I did see some glimpses of that in tonight's hockey game with the defenseman moving off of that offensive blue line, getting involved. Dylan DeMello specifically got off that blue line a few times and did a good job in trying to create in that offensive zone. So a few good things. You got to take the positives as they come and take them into your next game, because the schedule does not get any easier as you go down the stretch.
No, not an easy start for them. All right, earlier this week, reverse retro jersey came out. A lot of talk around the league about it. Here are the games that we will see the reverse retro jersey. And look at that look from Ealer, speaking of it, huh?
That's a cool look. That's a cool look.
It is. It's not quite blue steel, but I don't know what exactly he's trying to do with it, but you take a look at the games in there. He's got a little bit more of a smile with that one as opposed to the look beforehand. But what was your initial thought of the jerseys?
Well, I think they look great. I think anytime they come out with another jersey, it's always fun for the fan base. You get another opportunity to add a jersey to your collection, and the colors that they go with, that awesome blue color, and obviously bringing in that retro side of things is always a good thing.
Absolutely. It honors the 90s era. I want to let you know that you can pre-order them now, or they are available in-store and online November the 15th. All right, it is time to go to the Matt Frost Center. Let's hear from head coach Rick Bowness.
Rick, Josh was quite even-keeled about it. Pierre-Luc Dubois said he didn't want to get fined. What was your take on the second period tonight, the officiating?
I'm the same way. I don't want to get fined.
It probably cost you a game, though, right?
What we see and what they see, so, a lot of times is two different things. What we saw tonight, they didn't see. Simple as that.
Outside of that, what did you see from your team, and where did it maybe go wrong then?
Well, the difference in the game is clearly the specialty teams. We hit a couple of goal posts, and theirs went in. We had some good looks that we just didn't capitalize on. Yeah, that's what it comes down to when they score 2 power play goals and we don't score any. And we had some really good looks that just didn't go in. So
I'm not sure if those looks are enough for you. Josh was saying that he believes, as they get more familiar with the system, the offense will come more from there. But is that what we're seeing right now? This team's trying to learn the defensive side first and how to build offensively off of it?
Yeah, well, again, we're creating the chances. So, yeah, I mean, you work hard to get the puck back. You got to do a lot with it. So right now there's some guys just off a little bit with their timing on the offensive side of the puck, and we just keep pushing it.
I know too that your belief is turnovers lead to slowing a team down. How did you feel your team did in that?
I thought early in the second we started to play east to west, and that slowed us down. Then we were going great. There were guns when we were going north. We had some good looks on the forecheck. They did a good job of rushing our D in the O-zone and blocking some shots and forcing quicker shots than we wanted. But we did spend some good time in the O-zone. We just didn't capitalize on it. We had 9 shots from our defense on the net. That's close to what we're trying to get. A little few more would be nice. But yeah.
Rick, on sort of that pivotal play late in the second where Pierre-Luc gets the only penalty, did you talk to did you get an explanation as to maybe why they didn't feel that the initial hit on Cole?
No, they wouldn't. They didn't come over to me on that one. They came over a couple of times that we had the discussion. I mean, even in there was a line change I was trying to make in the second, and he didn't. Then he apologized. He knew it was too fast. So I didn't get an explanation on that one.
I know it's a fast game and things happen in a moment there, but you've been able to look at it. Do you feel that should have been a hit from behind on Cole at the very least?
It looked to me like a hit from behind, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and just on the second goal, we all saw it, and Pierre-Luc mentioned Mason Appleton. I mean, I know pick plays can be subtle. Was that a subtle pick on him? It
was a collision, and it caused, it led to the goal against. So we were in good shape coming in, and all of a sudden we lose Mason, and the scramble was on. So, again, what we see and what they see were two totally different things on that play.
Just an overall comment on the atmosphere tonight. It's always a lively building when you get the Leafs in town. I think this is the first sellout since pre-COVID, so It's been a while. What's it like to kind of coach and play in an atmosphere like that?
The atmosphere tonight. Fans were fantastic. Great. It was a good hockey game. It was going back and forth. It was intense. It was a hell of a hockey game. We came out in the short end of it, but certainly the fans created a great atmosphere out there. It was fun to be a part of.
Rick, what are you learning about Pierre-Luc Dubois' game in the early stages of this year?
I knew he was a good player, and he's delivering. Big, strong guy, very good with the puck. When he hit 2 goal posts tonight, and he's making good shots, making good plays, and that line looks really good right now.
This is a very writery question with plenty of spin in it, so I'll wear that up front. But a game like tonight, some questions about officiating, a lot of physicality. Is it a good opportunity for you guys to come together as a response to some of the stuff that went on?
Well, we've come together. We've been together. This group has been sticking up for each other the whole training camp and every game. That's not going to ever happen, that we won't stick up for each other and that we won't go to war with each other. That will not happen. We will battle for each other. We did again tonight, and we'll do it every game. So I think the group is together, and I think they're going to continue to fight together, and they're going to continue to fight together and help us get this thing turned around.
Actually, you mentioned since camp and preseason, there were a couple of games right at the end where you've already sort of shown this. So I guess this is just a continuation.
It's a continuation, and it will continue every game. There'll never be a game that our player will go on that ice and not have, everyone will have his back. That will never happen here. Thanks.
As we mentioned earlier, when you look at Rick Bowness's comment about playing together, playing for each other, he really reiterated it there with his last couple of comments for it. How important is that to set that tone early on, especially when you have a new coaching staff coming in and wanting to establish a certain culture with the group?
Well, it's hugely important. It's sticking up for each other on the ice is a huge factor in bringing the group together. You know that if anything's going on, you're going to have 4 guys right behind you in the scrum, and I think that's what we saw. As this game progressed, we saw that the Jets getting more physically involved, sticking up for each other after the whistles, and the physicality got them more into the hockey game. They started creating more opportunities, and I think an important thing as well is they didn't fold the tent. They continued to play. Came out in the third period, similar to the situation against the Golden Knights, where you're down and out, but at the same time, you have to continue to fight. So in that sense, I think this group does have a good thing going in the sense that they're going to stick up for each other. They're going to continue to fight all the way down to the final buzzer, and they did that tonight, except they came up short against a really talented Leafs team.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, with special teams being the difference on it. We mentioned the start. You and I were talking earlier, and we were discussing the slow start, obviously, that cost them in Vegas, but then they were able to fight back and make that a game. And then you look tonight, they had the good start that they were looking for, had the lull, but it is what you mentioned, I think, when you look at how this group is continuing to fight. Yes, there are the ebbs and flows that go with it, but a positive sign to continue to build upon. The fact that this team, regardless of how things go, seems to be in it together and is willing to continue to fight until the very end.
Yeah, definitely. A group that believes in each other, and I think it was nice to see against the Colorado Avalanche, Stanley Cup champion team. They go into that building, a tough building to play in. The atmosphere, high. It's tough to get your win going. I thought they played really fast in that game, so you got a good glimpse of the capability that this group has. I think they can play fast. They can hang in there with the best in the league. But again, you have to bring that 60-minute hockey game. You cannot come out and have a bit of a lull in that second period like they did tonight. Again, a great team in the Leafs. You have to respect that and bring that third period play through all 60 minutes.
Yeah, certainly. We saw some good things from the Jets tonight. As mentioned, though, they did not come out on the right end, or at 4-1 was the final in this game. One more time, let's take a look at the next 4 games coming up. All of them will be on TSN, and it starts this Monday against the St. Louis Blues at home. If you have not got your tickets, you want to make sure that you get in here for this. It should be another great atmosphere. The Blues have not lost yet this season for it, and it's always a physical affair, as Neil Pionk mentioned, when these two teams play, and then they head out on the road again. All right, that is it for us tonight. Derek, always appreciate it. You are going to be back with me very soon. Looking forward to it as we continue to bring you more post-game shows here in Winnipeg. That's it for us tonight. Good night, everyone.